What's up, everyone? In today's video, I'm going to help you figure out how to prioritize your finances during the holidays. This is a time where we typically have the same amount of money to work with like we do every other time of the year, but our expenses can be a lot more than any other time of the year. So we've got to figure out how to do this or manage this responsibly so that we don't end up with a bunch of debt that we have to spend the rest of the year paying off. In today's video, I'll help you figure out exactly how to do that. The first thing you can do is figure out how much you can afford to spend on gifts, and if you can even afford to spend anything on gifts. You do not have to buy people gifts just because that is typically the tradition for a lot of people, but it is okay to be honest with people and say, you know what, it's just not in my budget this year, so I am sorry, but I would love to get together with you for lunch or do something else, maybe watch a movie or something that doesn't cost money. There's ways to show people that you love them without buying them a physical gift. But if you do want to buy gifts, just see what you can actually afford. So here's a couple tips to help you do that. First, go through your budget. Of course, look at your inflows, your outflows. How much do you actually have to work with? Your surplus. So list this all out so you have a clear understanding of how much you're even working with after all of your bills are paid. After you've found your surplus, so the extra money you have to work with after all of your bills and obligations are paid for, what's most important to you on your goals list? If buying presents and spending on holiday things is very important to you, then of course use that surplus to go ahead and allow yourself to buy the things. But create a budget for yourself amongst your friends and family, the people that you do want to spend money on. And don't forget about holiday outfits or Christmas parties, bottles of wine that you might take to a party or stuff like that, that just kind of creeps into our budget without us actually accounting for it. And that can really throw us off our game. When you are determining what's most important and like you're finding that you do want to spend some money on the holidays, take a second look at what you're paying for your debts and your retirement. And maybe just for a month or 2 months, you really reduce that instead of paying extra. If you are hopefully making some extra payments towards these different goals, maybe for the month of December, you can reduce that to just pay the minimums on your debts that you have or your student loan or even your retirement plan. Say you pay $500 a month for your retirement account, maybe you only pay $200 a month or maybe $100 just for that 1 month. So that way you can squeeze in some extra into your budget to cover some of these expenses that are popping up. But definitely make sure you are making your minimum payments. You do not want to lapse on those. You don't want to pay extra interest or anything like that. So it is important to still stick to your financial obligations, but you can find ways to reduce those, especially if you're used to paying a little bit more on different obligations that you have in your life. After you've reviewed your budget and allocated money towards your different expenses and your bills, your holiday money, give yourself a little extra buffer if you can for the unexpected. Like I said, there's so many things that pop up that we just don't typically account for that do take from our budget. So make sure you give yourself a little wiggle room and don't feel pressured to do things that you really can't afford or that are just outside of your priorities. Keep in mind that your financial life is yours going into next year, and you really want to set yourself up for success for the new year. You don't want to spend the remainder of the year digging a hole for yourself to then climb out of next year. You want to start on solid ground as much as possible. So the less you do for others, if you can afford it, the better you'll be off next year. And then maybe you can use that, like if you're feeling really strapped and wishing that this time of the year wasn't so stressful for you, maybe you use that as motivation to really get into a much better place this time next year, so you're not having to do this over and over again. I know that's how I felt for several holidays. Every single year, it was very frustrating and very stressful to try to figure out how to get people gifts. And then every time I would buy gifts, it was just kind of this, nice feeling because it's like, oh, I get to do something nice. But at the same time, it was painful for my wallet and all of that because I just couldn't afford it back then. That was motivational for me to say, I can't keep repeating this year after year going through this struggle. So I really made it a priority to take care of my finances so that when the holidays comes up, it's no big deal. Another thing you could do if you're feeling strapped for cash is just make an agreement with all of your friends and all of your family or different groups that you know that you would typically give gifts to, and just say, hey, why don't we all just decide not to do gifts this year and instead bake cookies together, or come up with another activity that you could do in place of when you would normally exchange gifts. This way you can still keep your traditions going, but at the same time, everyone will probably benefit from having some extra money in their bank. Or what if you agree to buy each other a stock or buy yourself stocks? Like everyone could say, you know what? Instead of spending $100, I'm gonna just buy you $100 of this XYZ stock. Think of that too. You know, you don't have to give somebody a physical gift. You can give them a portion of a stock. If you can't afford the whole entire stock, you can use stock slices through Fidelity or Schwab, and you can buy portions of stocks for people. That is a great gift, so don't forget about that. If you're feeling strapped for cash, one thing you can do is try to pick up some odd jobs, especially during the holidays. People need extra help setting up for Christmas parties, doing random things that maybe they don't really need help for on a regular basis, but you could probably really help out just for a day on a weekend or after work or something. I know I need extra help during this time of the year, especially around my house. So that's something maybe you can offer for other people and just get a quick surplus of cash. And that could be something that you apply towards gifts. If you're not finding it in your actual budget after all your bills are paid, that could be a way that you could get that extra money without using debt, without going into debt and digging that hole that we were talking about. This is a great way to bring in some extra cash and just alleviate some stress. So again, you can set yourself up for success going into the new year. Now, I hope you found some of this useful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear how you're saving money this holiday season and how you're making your finances a priority when there's pressure all around us to just spend. I'm encouraging you to not spend as much if it is going to stress you out. If it's something that you can do easily, go for it. Money is there for a reason, right? But you've got to have your bases covered first so that you can feel comfortable with it and not cause yourself so much stress this year. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I wish you the happiest of holidays, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.